Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. I am here with our guest today, Willem Haus, who is the author of Side Hustle Success, a low-cost, low-risk way to make more money. And I'm telling you, he has helped so many people start businesses, so many unemployed people start businesses, and we're going to get into the process of how he's doing that around the country. And believe me, this is an episode that will challenge your mindset around what it takes to start a business. Because many people believe it is difficult. Many people have so many excuses and so many reasons why they believe even if they start, they will not succeed. So that's what we are about today. We want to talk to all those excuses and all those reasons. Willem, welcome to the podcast. Well, let me say welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's nice to see you, and congratulations on the growth of your podcast.
Thank you so much.
Round of applause for that.
Thank you so much.
You showed one of the key principles to business success, just consistency.
Consistency. Yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster since you were here.
I can imagine that.
But I appreciate guys like you who gave us a chance, who said, we'll come, we'll help you grow. Because without you, we don't go anywhere, see?
Thank you for that. I appreciate the compliment.
So how are you? How have you been since?
Doing well. Since we've talked, a lot has happened, and interesting, even me now after 5 years of the work that I do in townships, people are starting to pay attention at last.
Is it?
So it's a slow process.
Can you give a high-level overview of the work that you do?
Okay, so in the Human Entrepreneur, we developed a recipe for job creation, simple and straightforward. Mm-hmm. It was created in Africa for Africa. Mm-hmm. So it's not some milked-down Silicon Valley approach. And we go into townships, we take an unemployed person, we get them to start a profitable business in 5 weeks without external funding. Any industry, any business, any sector. So how we're disrupting the entrepreneurship development space and local economic development, job creation, and all the sustainable development goals is that we reduce the time of job creation through self-employment to 5 weeks. We cut the cost by about 20 times compared to what the industry standard is, and we can do it at scale. So if South Africa's president had to pick up the phone and his checkbook and say, Willem, can you give me 3,000 new businesses per month in Johannesburg? I'll go, hold my coffee.
Let's do it.
Let's make this happen. And that's exactly what Africa needs, is that scale, the speed, and the affordability.
Can you remember how many businesses you've helped so far? How many unemployed people you've helped start businesses, and how many employed people you've helped start side hustles?
So we've done a few hundred so far. I've only started now delving into the side hustle stuff in earnest. I started testing courses with employed people because I like them because they have money to spend.
Yeah.
Compared to my usual customer at the township who can't spend, so I have to go and beg for money to go and do that, which is a challenge, and it breaks your spirit on some level as well.
So it's in the hundreds?
It's in the hundreds, but we can really scale this much faster.
Okay. What would you say is the best part of your work, of what you do?
Because I'm not the magic. Mm-hmm. All that I'm doing, I'm the key that opens the door so that you can see what's inside you, the potential in you. And then it's fascinating when you see people discover that they can truly do this. Because I treat entrepreneurship as a learnable skill. So anybody can be taught to become a successful entrepreneur. I get a lot of flack about that statement in the industry, and I don't care. They can go and fly a kite. And it's nice to see somebody. Last year we had this woman, she has 2 kids, unemployed, very broken English. but the most beautiful smile. When she smiles, the room lights up. And she had no job, no income, and 5 weeks later, she had a profitable salon doing 4,000 Rand a week in profits. Now that's proper cash.
In 5 weeks?
In 5 weeks.
That's impressive.
That's impressive. It's easy
What
to
do you
take.
put something like that down to, though? Is it the brilliance of the individual? Because there are many that would start and not get those kind of results. Because that is
You know what?
good.
I think you're using the wrong word, the brilliance of the individual. No.
Give me the right English. That's what you're here for.
Your languaging might be failing you there.
Yeah.
It is the resilience and consistency and the resourcefulness. You know, wherever I speak internationally about the work that I do, I tell people Africa is rich in the resources. And to be an African, you have to be resilient. Africa will eat you up in a day, you know. But our poverty lies in our resourcefulness. It seems that our people are trying to change the future by doing the same things every day. And that's the problem. And it's to see the resourcefulness within somebody and also the potential within them, and to see how their mind grows as the business grows. That for me is nice. Now, it drives me to tears many times. I've had many sessions with people where they burst out in tears like, yeah, help me with this. And then it's just a...
What have you seen in those that do well? What do you think, besides the resourcefulness, which is a big part of it, and I think the main part of it, have you seen anything else that qualifies those that do well?
Oh, no, and you're the embodiment of that. It's consistency. It's just, people are not consistent. Most small business owners and new entrepreneurs are not consistent. And let me tell you a story. I don't know, do you have kids?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you also don't have money.
Yeah, you got me.
You know, so what day is today? Today's a Monday. Imagine you go home and you feed your kids a big meal tonight. And then you tell them, okay, kids, you're nice and full. I'll give you food again next week, Tuesday. Would you do that?
No, never.
Why not? Why wouldn't you do that?
It doesn't work like that.
Why? They might die.
Yeah, well,
Okay, cool.
definitely.
But that's what most of us do with our businesses. We reach out to customers every now and then. We give it food, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. And then we complain, why did my baby die? So they're not feeding the business consistently. That's why don't come into my class and say, I need access to market. You need access to action. That's your key thing. When I was at some incubation thing again the other day. I want access to market. They were like, really? How many people do you call in a day? Well,
2.
maybe 2 a month. I'm like, yes, dude, go stand in front of the mirror, slap yourself, tell yourself, wake up. I mean, I am consistently reaching out to no less than 20 people a day, 7 days a week. So why? It's something that never ends. But here's the thing, is you will have your kids woken up, fed, dressed, taken to school, fetched from school, fed, bathed, put into bed, irrespective of what happens in your day. And that's how you should treat your business as well. Whatever happens, that needs to happen anyway.
So that's the feeding the business.
Yeah, feed the baby. If you don't feed the baby every day, it's going to die.
Let's get into why many people are afraid to get started with business. What have you seen in your experience when you look at why people don't even get started? They give so many reasons. And I know the biggest you've already touched on, which is, I don't have the money to get started.
Yes, I hate the F word.
Okay.
You know, when people go, like, I need funding. I'm like, you know what, really? Just no. So in my class as well, don't tell me you're not allowed to use the F word in my class. Not. Because it's a myth. So what I've seen, speaking to, what are these, imagine a PwC level consultant and a guy in a township.
Yeah.
They have the same fears, the same uncertainties, and the same questions. There's no
Okay.
difference. Yeah, that's why
Same fear, same uncertainty,
everything,
same questions.
same things. They sit with the same challenges, and you would think it's not, but it's true. So, the biggest thing that I've seen, and I've seen this throughout South Africa, I've seen this in Namibia, I've seen this in Kenya, Botswana, and everybody I speak to around the world as well. In Africa, we suffer from learned helplessness. So I don't know if you're familiar with learned helplessness.
I'm familiar with it.
But for the audience, so I'm old enough to remember when circuses had animals.
Yeah.
Now they've turned us into the animals, which is not bad. I like that. And but what they used to do is when they buy a new baby elephant, they would hit the peg in the ground, tie a rope to the peg and to the baby elephant's leg, and it can't escape. But they use that same rope and peg in the ground when it's an adult elephant, and it can simply lift its leg and leave. But it doesn't, because it has learned that it is helpless. So the learned helplessness that we struggle with in Africa is this belief that you have to have a registered business, that you have to have a business plan, and you have to have funding. And I'm like, no, you don't need any of those. Okay. Obviously, if you start a butchery or something, please go through the needed regulatory hoops that go with it. But and that's the key thing: is you don't need all of these things. I always tell people the biggest obstacle standing in entrepreneurs' way, and that have destroyed thousands, millions of them, and ruined their financial future, is because they buy the bloody bus.
Buy the bus.
They buy the bus.
Okay.
So, number one, feed the baby. Number two, don't buy the bus. So what they did is, so imagine you want to start a tour operating business. You want to take people from Joburg down the Garden route and show them everything else.
Yeah.
So typical what they do, get funding, buy
the bus.
Yes. And then they have this shiny bus and no tourists. Okay? And you're like, wow, this is not working. I'm like, yes, Mpiwe, it won't. Because you started building a business, you bought the bus, and that's the wrong thing. What you need to do is get the tourists that can fill a bus, you hire a bus, you take them on it. And then if you can consistently fill a bus,
Now you know you can afford to get one.
then consider buying one. But then they go, oh, but I'm going to lose profits. Oh, yes. What about losing your financial future? Let's weigh that up. So don't buy the bus. People think there's too much structure that needs to go into starting a business, and actually not. It's just finding your first customers. And that's the most important thing. And you really don't need to spend a lot in order to get that going.
Finding the customers and just communicating your value to many people every day consistently.
Yeah, and getting money in.
Yeah.
Like you had Mlamule here the other day, and he lives by this mantra. I taught him, and I said to him, Mla, our role as a business owner every day is to stand on the tops of mountains and shout to the world the value that we bring. Oh my word, and there I bring the house down. Yeah.
So you're
It's
not
my
getting
strong
us-
breath. I'm like Superman.
Okay.
There's a
No.
telephone booth outside.
Yeah, no, you were telling us what you say to Mla.
Yeah, so it is you need to stand on the tops of mountains and shout to the world the value that you bring. That's what you need to do every day. Always be telling people about that. Never stop.
Which is good. And Mla is good. He came and he did quite a great interview.
Yeah. You
So-
and I work a lot together.
Oh,
Yes.
good man, good man. I'm thinking of a second reason why people are afraid to get into business. There's communication out there that says about over 80% of people that start businesses will be out of business in 10 years.
Yes.
It gets worse.
Perfect.
And people are afraid that they'll fail.
Excellent. It should happen.
It should.
Yeah,
They should
so
fail.
I have little or no interest in these doom prophets running around. Oh, we should reduce the failure rate of startups. No, we shouldn't. It's not a bug in the system, it's a feature. Let me explain. So I was at an event and they had some big hobnob dude from the World Bank there. And I said, I believe the measurement of the 2-year survivability rate of a business is a useless measure. We shouldn't be measuring that. That was hilarious. They never answered my question. They diverted and spoke about some unrelated topic for 30 minutes. And even the MC said to them, you completely dodged the question. Okay. It was sad. Here's the thing is, we look at developing the wrong things. So I was invited, I'm going to take a long tail with this. So I was invited by UNESCO to go and speak at their 10th annual meeting on entrepreneurship education in October in Uzbekistan at Tashkent.
Okay.
To speak about my work. And the key difference that I spoke about there is you people have to understand there's a difference between, there are 2 prongs to entrepreneurship development. There's business development and then there's the human element. The human development. That's why my company is called the Human Entrepreneur. You're not developing humans. Taking somebody through lean startup does not create an entrepreneur. It doesn't. Giving somebody funding doesn't create an entrepreneur. So that's the issue that we have to look at is the difference between what we are developing. So if you look at the 2-year measurement, they're measuring business success. So you will see in all my stuff I use relationships a lot as examples. So imagine you go on a first date with this person. And if you don't strike it off first time, you know, hold hands, kiss, get married, have babies, everything in the first 2 years, you suck as an entrepreneur. You're useless. Would that be fair? No. It's insane. They might be bat crazy. What are the odds of that stuff happening? But this is what we think should happen with this business. I start this brand new relationship with this business. It might turn out that they boil bunnies on weekends and they're crazy and nuts. And have you ever had a business that really destroyed you mentally and financially?
I did.
Yeah, cool. And yet we go, no, it should survive. If that happens in the relationship, what's the first thing you do? You break up. You leave. You get the hell out of Dodge. Okay? And that's why I tell people, just kill a business, break up with it, get another one. You know, and that's the thing, is that first 2 years is not a business measurement. That is my journey as an entrepreneur from birth to adulthood. That's where I bump myself. That's where I ask out the wrong person. That's when I get involved with the wrong crowd. That's where I lose so many things.
So it's an experiment, it's a game.
That's the process. But we're obsessed with businesses. We need to get obsessed with people. That's the problem that we're facing.
How do you connect it to the human fear of what if it doesn't work? What if I don't have what it takes?
Yeah, because you've been taught and drilled into you that everything's about the business. I don't care about a business. It's about you. And that's why people are afraid. That's why if you look at the work that I do wherever, if I do my business coaching, if I do my program in townships, if I do the side hustle work and all of that stuff, I show you how to fail in such a way that you can do it again, and you do it again, that you don't buy the bus.
I like the don't buy the bus.
You know what? Here's the thing is, you'll see, people forget data, they remember stories. And all of your audience will go, okay, cool, did I feed the baby today? If you look at a business deal, am I buying a bus? I don't want a bus. I hate buses.
I can tell what business you would not start. All right, so let's go to another reason that I've seen or heard people talk about. When people say, I don't have the experience. I don't have the skills. And
Wow.
that is based on, you look on social media and see a lot of guys that are in business and posting what they're doing every day. And you
Yeah.
feel like they are great communicators. They are great networkers. They are
Well,
great. They've got.
You're asking two things. We're addressing two
You
things.
can mix it up together.
No, let's address number one, not having
Yeah.
the experience. Number two, listening to other entrepreneurs.
Oh, yes.
Okay, those are two different things. Number one, not having the experience. Nice. Let's apply that thinking to dating and marriage.
Nice.
Why not? I've never held somebody's hand, so no, I can't go and do that. And I will die alone, probably with a dog. Okay? It doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't.
No. What do? You go and you try. That's the one thing that I fault the entrepreneurship ecosystem worldwide. And if some people are not doing this, thank you for not. But the others, pay attention to what I'm saying. It's too much too soon. Okay? They're trying to teach people to become a concert pianist by teaching them musical theory, piano design, stage setup. And I go like, so how do you start to play the piano? How would you start to play the piano?
Play the piano.
Playing the piano. Get behind the keys and going, oh, okay, it didn't turn out well. Okay. And that's where you start. Just like dating, just like pianos. How do you learn to become an entrepreneur? Well, you start. And because that leads to more. But if you look at some of these programs, so it's financial management, projection, branding, marketing, and everything. It's equivalent. I see it as follows. You go on a blind date. Again, me and the relationship
You
stuff.
love relationships.
No, but there's...
I love the metaphors, though.
But business and personal, intimate relationships are so intertwined. What works in the one works in the other. So there's a new keynote I'm working on. If it doesn't work in the bedroom, it doesn't work in the boardroom.
Ooh.
And I'll write a book about that. I'll see how HR approaches that one. But imagine I sit down across that very lucky woman, and I tell her my complete and detailed morning bathroom procedure. Okay? And then I share with her all my quirky things and jokes that I say repeatedly every day and all the weird things that I do. And then I share with her all the bat crazy people in my family. Well,
It's not going to start.
No, she's going to go, I need to go and powder my nose, and then she never comes back. And that's what we're doing as entrepreneurs. We're showing them this is everything, this is everything, this is everything. And we think giving people all the supposed knowledge would get them to become an entrepreneur. It doesn't. It scares the crap out of them. And that's the problem. Now, it's if you look at when they start with me, I get them to become entrepreneurs. And then they go, ooh, I wonder how. I wonder this. I need this. How might I do this? And that's when they go into further stuff. I've had people in my program who's been on other programs, and they said, you know what, they taught me financial management a few months ago, and I learned nothing because I had no money in the bank. Now I have money. Now that would come in handy. Yeah, it's difficult to teach somebody financial management if you have no money in the bank. 0 divided by 5 billion, 0.
Do you have some excited young people there? They're saying amen.
Yes, that's it. Amen. I love that. So, and that's the thing is about how we need to move past that and to look at the human being, how we teach it. And that's why I'm not saying the other incubation program should be chopped or anything. No, please. That's why the work that the human entrepreneur does fits in perfectly. It complements other incubation programs and other entrepreneurship programs.
Because of the human element.
Because I wake up the human. In my company brochure, at the top it reads, we don't teach people to fish. I think there's enough courses out there and programs teaching people to fish and nobody's damn fishing. We make fishermen. That's what I do in the Human Entrepreneur. I make fishermen. I get you to wake up and go like, I can do this. And I get you to do that. And that's the power of that.
Beautiful, beautiful. The second part of the question was around comparing yourself to other entrepreneurs and just generally looking at content that paralyzes you because everyone says, I'm doing this because I'm this awesome.
Well, it's not necessarily comparison. Comparison is one thing. And comparison is a vicious thing. If you want to destroy your soul, compare. Okay, swim in your own lane. Just do your gig. My thing, and it's a guy who worded it so well. His name is Patrick Bet David, and how he described it was, you're changing your religion too often.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, I have a morning procedure that works for me. Okay? And then you watch this thing. Oh, that guy does that. And then I change my morning procedure to try what he does. But mine works already for me. And then I change things the whole time based on what works for them, not looking at what works for me. You have to understand that information is something that I can hold, I can look at it, and I can choose to make it my own or not.
Gotcha.
So rather look at your life to see what works.
For you.
For you. If you see something that doesn't work, go and see what might work for somebody else. And then you can go and test it. But stick to what works for you until it doesn't. And then you do something new. So stop changing your religion the whole time. And all of these books where they interview, I've interviewed 50 entrepreneurs on this. You know, it feels like a freaking gossip magazine.
Yeah, and all the 50 will have different types of advice. Sometimes it contradicts.
No, it should. It should contradict.
Should.
That's the important thing. Because not everybody runs a business the same way.
Not everything works for everyone the same way.
No. You know, but you and I can both start exactly the same business next to each other. It won't be the same business.
It will not.
No, because of our personalities, our perspectives, our backgrounds, and our views of the world.
Love it. You talk about waking up the human, making
Yes.
the human entrepreneur. Part of that is just personal fears that people have, especially the fear of rejection. People are afraid to go and sell because the no feels so painful. By the time you hear the second no, it feels paralyzing to think, do I need to do this again tomorrow?
This reminds me of something I've said a lot at conferences.
Yeah.
And I said it jokingly. And I said, I think entrepreneurship is more difficult for women than for men because men are used to rejection. I had one guy in my class who says, every 15th woman that he asks out says yes. And I'm like, number one, you are a beast for taking that. And just meet me afterwards. We need to work on your game a bit. Let's get that down to 8 at least. 15 is a bit high. But it is the nature of the beast. It is what it is. And you're always selling. If you go on a date with somebody, you are selling yourself. If you shake somebody's hand at a networking event, you are selling yourself. You're always selling. And that's the important thing. And that's an important chapter that I have in the book, is chapter number 4, how to overcome fear, rejection, and demotivation. And that's a big thing. It's just how to step into that. And there's a line in the book that or quote that I created. If you want to live a life of intention, you have to live a life in tension. Because you have to step, if you want to live a life of intention.
If you want to have a life of intention,
you have to live a life in tension.
Now
you have to be
you.
in that tension moment.
Discomfort.
That discomfort. think back to, imagine you're going back to your first crush.
Mm-hmm.
You saw this other person, you're like, oh, yeah, I love them. Oh, that's so amazing.
Taking me way back.
Taking you way back. And then you walk somewhere and they walk and you start sweating in places you didn't think you have places. And then you make eye contact. What was the first thing you did? Probably looked away. Went like, is that Superman? Or something else. You could not hold that eye contact.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't step into that tension. But it's about holding that tension, to step into it.
Yeah, the worst thing in my case, she was in front of me. I think I had to escape that situation really fast.
Exactly.
Someone was trying to introduce me.
Yes, and you're like, I don't want to know this person. Who's this person? I don't want to know that.
Guy was so shocked. Boy, I thought you wanted to say hi.
And how many times did you, and now in inverted commas, run away from asking for the price that you know you're worth? How many times did you run away from asking for the deal that you know you can do, but you weren't prepared to step into the tension?
You know what I think is even worse there when I think about that is it's probably happened so many times over time. I wasn't quantifying and I wasn't tracking how many times I've run away and how much I was losing in the process. And I think that's the experience for many people.
Yeah, and I don't want you to ponder it too long, but
You don't
where
like...
would your life be today if you did step into the tension? Where would you be today? And that's it. How many guests in the beginning were you not prepared to step into the tension to ask them?
So many.
So many. Imagine you did. Where could this podcast have been today? So that's just something to think about, and it's about that important. That's why if you look at the book, I teach 5 things. Why do you start a business? It's to do with you. How do you start a business? Very small chapter, literally the shortest chapter. Number 3, how to find customers with money. Overcoming fear, rejection, and motivation, and then lastly, building a rhythm of success. The bulk of the book is about personal development. Business is easy because the business is a manifestation of your thinking. If your business stinks, it's thinking.
Just manifesting itself.
Yes. Yeah.
I like the customers with money, not how to find customers.
No.
Big difference.
There's many customers out there for my business coaching, but not all of them have money. And I like those with money. It's my favorite.
Yeah. All right. I think I've got 2 questions, 2 reasons that I've also come across for why people are afraid to get into business. And I'll hand over to some young people. They are excited to ask you some questions as well.
Okay.
One of the reasons that's popular is time commitment, because maybe I have a job or people feel I'm too busy to start a business for whatever reason. And if I get into business, the work life is not going to balance quite nicely. I'd rather be secure. And I think an extension to that is I've got too many responsibilities to gamble with the business. I'm sure you've come across those as well.
Okay, cool. A lot to unpack there. Number 1 is I'm going to risk too much to gamble on the business. Yes, that's because you're planning to buy the bus. If you go through the book, if you work with me, if you attend any of my training, I'll show you how not to buy the bus so that you can start your business without risking everything. Because I'm a single father. I raised my son by my own. I can't risk everything. Can't risk his stability. So I know where you're coming from. But it's about how do you do it the cheapest, quickest, lowest risk way. And just see where it goes. Okay, so that's an important one. What was some of the other ones you said there? Time, and then all the other
work-life
things.
balance.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, work-life balance, not a big fan of that statement. It insinuates one is good and one is bad. Which one? So for the family, the business is bad. For the entrepreneur, the business is good.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. I'm a big fan of work-life integration. I see business as a platform for personal development and self-exploration. And you can see it in the businesses that I did. My first business I did to find a girlfriend. And it worked. Because I'm an introvert. I had issues approaching
Can you say
people.
that again? I think
I
someone
started
missed
the business to get a girlfriend. So I was lying there thinking, I'm an introvert. I'm struggling to approach. If I become famous, they will come to me. And lo and behold, I did something online. Next thing, I'm on TV, radio, festivals, and it worked.
She
Okay?
came.
She came. Let's leave it there. For my 30th birthday, I wrote, directed, and started my own stage play. For my 33rd, I did a musical. I had a t-shirt brand. I had a newspaper. It's about exploring different areas of yourself. Where you go now, I'm an author, I'm a professional speaker, I'm a trainer, and it's about the expression of yourself and where do you want to go. So that's important. Getting back to the excuses. Yeah, cool. Okay. My buddy, Barry Mitchell, love him to death, has a simple way of addressing that. He says, you're right. Those are valid reasons. Do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Make a decision.
Either you're right or you're rich.
That you can hold on to that, and you're right. I don't have much time. I don't have this. I have these. What? You're right. Okay, and if you want to keep being right, have that. Don't complain that you don't have a business. Or you can go, cool, how might I? Where can I do this? Where can I achieve that?
Man, that's such a powerful frame.
Yes, and I love doing that in townships. Everything's against me.
You're right.
No, it's not. Everything is not against you. There's so much going for you. But it's our human bias to look at the negative.
Last question.
Shoot.
It actually might not even be a last question.
I'm fine.
If people are afraid to start businesses because they look at just economic uncertainty, the environment around, and feel like it's too risky to be in business, the country is not doing so well. Maybe Africa is not doing so well.
Okay. So when is it doing well? Can you tell me?
Very well. That's the excuse someone will throw.
Yeah,
This
so
is
here's
too
the thing.
risky.
There's never a good time. There never is a good time. So now is the best time.
Now is always the best time.
Now is always the best. Just start. But that's the thing that I teach is to start so small, so cheap, so low risk as possible. That you can go and see like, ooh, this works. Yes, let's give a little bit more. But so many people commit everything. And then they go, oh, it's not working and I risked everything. Well, you made that decision. You could have made a different decision. But if you listen to typical entrepreneurship advice and training out there, it's like, let's do this business plan, let's get funding. I mean, I had a guy, I was doing a book signing on Saturday, and young guy, same age as you guys, as your studio staff. And he argued with me that he thinks it's better to get a loan, go into debt, have all of that, because it's more secure to start your business. I'm like, dude, go and do that.
Go to you.
You know what? If you want to be right, go and be right. But that's how it's been inculcated in us, that this is the process. It's not the process. It is not. And that's the big issue that I have with the whole lean startup thing in Africa. It should be kicked out of Africa.
What would the alternative be?
Because it's irrelevant, non-contextual, too slow, expensive, and teaches people that you need funding, and if you only have a good idea, people will throw money at you. And it has a low throughput. Everything that Africa doesn't have. And if you look at the whole startup ecosystem, and I put let's say it's the size of a dinner plate, and I put a condom around that dinner plate. Okay? It's a safe meal. The thickness of that condom on the plate are the relevant startups that are pushing the boundaries and are the innovative ones that need to go through all of that lean startup process and get everything going. That's a small percentile, but now we look at the deal flow in Africa and unicorns. It's irrelevant. It benefits the investor and the founder. It's not creating millions of jobs or whatever the case may be.
True.
Okay? It hoards value for a certain amount of people, and if they got that right, kudos. I'm not taking you on that one.
Okay.
Okay? But I've seen a guy who does woodwork and a plumber and electrician go through 9 months of lean startup training. I mean, a plumber is simple. Your MVP, your value proposition is simple. I sort poop out. There's no doubt about it. They need to start a business and get going. People are, yeah, but what about innovation and scaling? That's also, here's the other thing, okay? That really races my motor.
Yeah.
And I love saying this at a conference. Small businesses are not our future. Small businesses will not save an economy. And your brain going like, no.
I'm processing.
This
and
Malungu
my
is
brain
lying.
is going so many places.
Where is he going with this? You
All
liar.
right.
Everybody tells us that small businesses are. Now, in the book, in chapter 6, and chapter 6 is just to add on, just to discuss, what is a small business? What is this? And if you look at your typical economy, large businesses contribute usually the number 1 or number 2 biggest GDP creator, okay? And usually they're the second biggest employer. But of total percentile of registered business, there may be 0.5%, 0.1%. Very small. Then you look at medium businesses. You're looking at about 3 to 5% max, if you're lucky. Then you look at small businesses, 5%. Who's the rest? Micro.
Okay.
Less than 10 people. 92% of all businesses in America, micro. 95% of all businesses in the United Kingdom, micro. Here's the important thing.
So for you, the future is not small, it's micro.
Micro. It's the bulk. 65% of those guys will never employ. And that's okay. They employ themselves. Yeah, but no, it's a lifestyle business. Dude, micro businesses are the biggest employer in any economy. It's the biggest contributor to the economy as well. Now we take micro businesses, people who want to start a business, who's a micro business, and we teach them processes and procedures. That's small and medium business. It's irrelevant. At this level, it's mindset. And that's why we need to look at this. This is we're having the wrong language. We're having the wrong focus. We're teaching the wrong things to the people at the wrong time. That's why the work that I do is so important. It's about, I played that layer. Like my one business coaching client said, Willem, you're the 0 to 1 guy. You get people to wake up and go like, okay, I can do this stuff. And does it mean my work doesn't work in a small or medium business? Works perfectly there. Because I changed the mindset of the person who owns the business.
I have 2 statements for you.
Shoot.
One is a statement, one is a story. I want your take on it since you brought this up. One person says, business is not for me. Entrepreneurship is not for me. I don't have it in me.
I get that a lot. And then 5 weeks later, got a business. I'm so evil. No, just kidding. Always ask, okay, what's your limiting beliefs around it? What don't you see in yourself? What are you missing within yourself? And it's a limiting belief within yourself that's holding that back. Because so many people have, I'm a professional speaker. And fellow speakers know me as I will make my voice heard. And if you get on stage and go like, only 3% of people can be entrepreneurs. Woo-wee! I'm going to heckle you from the back. Why? Because you're destroying people. It's an exclusionist thinking. You're destroying people. And I will not stand for that. Everybody has it. And I'm an entrepreneur on my level. I talk to people in these incubators. Yeah, but my business model has to be scalable. No, it doesn't. Why not? It's my business. I can build it how I want. I don't care. If you don't like how I build my business, then build your own one, just like you want. Okay, you go. This is my business. It's like you walking into my house telling me, Willem, you are raising your son wrong.
I don't like how you've designed the place.
There's one way to raise a child? No. There's one way to build a business? Now, yes, the powers that be are always looking for scalable, but you know what? The biggest opportunity to create jobs rapidly, rapid local economic development, rapid poverty alleviation, is by developing micro enterprises. And that's why there's such a big challenge here in South Africa. Every year in the Black Economic Empowerment Fund that companies have to pay in to develop new black businesses, there's about 26 billion rand left. Okay, so that in real money is about $1.4 billion. But they can't spend it on the work that I do. Because I work with informal businesses. Yeah, but we need to formalize them. No, you don't. Not yet. Yeah, but what about the tax base? Most businesses will never get to the level where they have to start paying VAT. So that's not a problem. Will they create economic activity? Absolutely. Will they increase the velocity of money within their community? Absolutely. Will it create jobs? Absolutely. Will it benefit the tax base down there? Absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Last one is a story. There's someone, it's a sad story, a person who got retired, got their package, got into entrepreneurship, and a couple of years, I think 2 years after, the business was collapsing. And when I was talking to the person, one thing that I saw was that because I asked if they'd ever tried entrepreneurship at any point in their life, and it was no. So they're trying it for the first time at nearly age 70 with everything to lose, and they lost.
I guess they probably bought the bus.
They bought the bus.
They bought the bus. I was at a hobby expo one day, and here's a guy with $250,000. He just retired. $250,000 to buy a 3D printer, and he's going to start a 3D printing business. I'm like, don't do that. No, I'm going to go get customers. What did he do 10 minutes later? Put down $250,000.
He still went on and bought it.
Yeah, I still went and bought it. You know what? So that's fine. You know what? He wants to be right. He'll come back. Hopefully pick up the phone and go like, Willem, I bought the bus and I'm sinking. Oh, cool. Let's try to fix this. And that actually in my one-on-one business coaching is my favorite segment. So I work with men between 30 and 65 who've been in business for a year to 2 years, married with kids. Because at that time, he's running out of answers. He doesn't know what to do. The business is stagnating, going down. He's working harder, more and more, and getting less and less results. He works so much, he gets home, the dog barks at him. His relationship with his wife and kids is really not getting well. And that's when I do that promise. I'll help you get your life, wife, and profits back. It works every time.
Thank you so much. How do people get the book before I bring?
You can get it on Amazon, but also most books, exclusive books, stocks it. If they don't, tell them to
Yeah.
order you a copy. Or reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn. And I can ship one to you. I'll sign it even then. But it might be more expensive when you buy directly from me.
It's cheaper to buy on Amazon.
Yeah.
And exclusive. Thank you. Stick around. We're going to have another episode. Some young people. So the team want to ask him a couple of questions. So that's the surprise that I had to you. But otherwise, from my side, I know this has been helpful. If you know someone who's got tons of excuses and a lot of them that we've been talking to, please share the episode with them. Otherwise, from our side, see you on the next episode.